August, September, when the games begin.
I think, again, when you're a bad team and perennially a bad team, just go get a good football player who you know is going to contribute right away.
What a play! What a throw!
This guy has rare character, rare leadership. Tape matches his character, which matches his stats.
I feel like I'm the best player in the country.
Best hand-eye coordination.
Sanders, end zone, caught!
Best ball skills anybody I've ever looked at in 47 years is Travis Hunter.
Touchdown! Travis Hunter!
He is a generational talent, and he certainly would make sense at this point in the draft.
Matt Miller's full 7-round mock draft released today. So much to get into, especially there near the top of the draft. And a little news about a player expected to go very, very early. This is new on NFL Live from Adam Schefter. Edge rusher and top prospect Abdul Carter will not work out at Penn State's Pro Day on Friday, per his agent Drew Rosenhaus. He's still finishing up rehab on that shoulder injury he had from the Boise State game. Rosenhaus said he may still do a workout for teams sometime in mid-April. Graz, is this a big deal?
No, I don't think it's going to affect Abdul Carter's draft stock at all. If he's a player that feels like he wants to let his tape speak for itself, that's a very good tape in terms of speaking, like better than I'm speaking right now, certainly. But no, Abdul Carter should be a top 2, 3, or 4 pick in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Matt, you have Carter going to Cleveland at 2, but I'm curious, why not quarterback there?
Yeah, because Carter is that good is the easy answer, guys. He is my number 1 player in this draft. He said it himself. He feels like he's the best player in the country. I happen to agree with him. And I think when you're the Cleveland Browns and you've made a lot of mistakes in the draft and in free agency and in trades, it's time to just have like a reset. Sometimes you just need to hit a double and stop swinging for grand slams. Abdul Carter is a safe pick. He's going to be a double-digit sack performer. And being able to pair him up with Myles Garrett gives you a strength in a division with 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. The Browns do need a quarterback. There's no way around that. They should be in on Kirk Cousins. And this draft actually has something that most drafts doesn't. That's a middle class at the quarterback position. We've talked about Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord, Will Howard. All these guys could be potential starters. The Browns have options other than falling for someone at number 2 that would be a reach.
I love what Matt's saying. I spoke to Sean Payton last year and talking about Bo Nix, and everybody kept saying he needs some weapons. He said a quarterback's best friend is a running game and a pass rusher. So getting a guy like Abdul Carter can completely change how you approach a game. And I look at it for Stefanski, their head coach. He did a great job 2 years ago getting his Cleveland Browns team to the playoffs with Joe Flacco coming off the couch, being able to come up with play action, running the ball, getting the ball down the field. So the possibility of him maybe doing that with a Tyler Shuck, who Matt Miller has going in the second round to the Cleveland Browns, would be a big upgrade for them competing with Kenny Pickett. But I think when you have 2 guys on the outside that are racing to the quarterback, play in and play out between Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter, I know as a former DB, I would love to see those guys in front of me, and I only have to cover for about 2 seconds before the quarterback has to get the ball
There
off.
you go, exactly. Meanwhile, I know everybody is saying that the Titans are taking Cam Ward, Graz, but they also said, hey, listen, we'll take phone calls if you're interested in that number 1 pick. I know it's kind of Lion season now, and everybody says a lot of things. What would it take for them to move off that top?
I mean, a lot, I think. And if you look at just a recent example, right, Carolina trading up with Chicago to get Bryce Young a couple of years ago. It was 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and DJ Moore. That's the trade. So, like, if you're the Titans and somebody calls and offers you something like that, you got to at least have a meeting. Right, and talk about, well, how much do we like Cam Ward? Is this enough to justify moving off of him? How far back can we go and still get the impact player we feel like we need? Those kinds of conversations. So you never say no to a phone call. It's just, I think at this point that pick would be very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, Amina, let's just play this out. Let's say Ward 1, Carter 2, Giants. We don't know if they're in the quarterback market at this point. How interesting can things get there at number 4?
Well, really interesting if the Giants don't take a quarterback. Yeah. Because if they do, I think the Patriots are going to, have most likely their choice of Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. Both would be phenomenal picks, frankly, for them. But if they don't, the Patriots are in a fascinating position, right? Because they're at pick 4. There's still a quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, most likely on the board. They don't need a quarterback. They need an offensive tackle, they need a wide receiver, and they need an edge. So you might actually set up what I believe to be a pretty ideal outcome for New England, which is get another team to trade up so that you can move down, get potentially both an offensive tackle and a wide receiver, both of which are sorely needed. I guess my question for Matt would be, would anyone trade up for Shedeur Sanders to that spot? Are there any candidates maybe who would be partners with New England? Because I have to think New England would love it if things played out that way.
They absolutely would. And I think you can look at the New Orleans Saints, who have pick number 9. Going from 9 to 4 in this draft maybe wouldn't be incredibly expensive. Derek Carr is kind of a one-year rental at this point where they could move on with Kellen Moore, maybe falls in love with Shedeur Sanders. That would certainly seem like a good scheme fit from my understanding what Kellen wants to do there. But I also could we rule out the Pittsburgh Steelers? I know we were just talking about them. I remember not that long ago, Pittsburgh traded up to 10 to take an inside linebacker. Pittsburgh will be aggressive at times. Now, going from 21 to 4, it's going to be expensive. That's going to be costly. But if you view this, Mike Tomlin has his team in the playoffs every year, right? So if you view this as this is an inexpensive year to move up the board. We love Shedeur can walk right into this building. He can be that option for us with these 2 big receivers on the outside, a pretty good run game. I think Pittsburgh would be a team that you would have to keep an eye on as Cam Hayward has said it. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are in this thing every year. For Shedeur Sanders, that's a dream landing spot because of what they have on defense and those 2 big playmaking wide receivers that they have.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, this is all, speculation and all of that. But if you're up there near the top and Travis Hunter is there, I mean, what team in the NFL couldn't use Travis Hunter, right? Lots to be talked about. The team has yet to name him QB1. And yesterday, Vikings GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah was asked about it and had this to say.
Where we are scenario-wise, we didn't think it was the right move at this time. It is also his decision to whether he signs with another team, not. That's ultimately up to another player. For me to sit here and say that, anything's 100% forever, that's just not the job, right? Obviously things can change, but right now we're really happy with our room and we're going to look to upgrade it in different ways. But for now, we're really excited.
Yeah, he got asked about 1,000 questions about Aaron Rodgers yesterday, Mina. What do you make of what they're doing in Minnesota at the quarterback position?
Yeah, when it comes to GMs, I judge them by their actions more so than their words. And every action that Minnesota has taken since their season ended suggests J.J. McCarthy is their starting quarterback. For starters, not keeping Sam Darnold, not tagging Sam Darnold, not getting into talks with any of the higher-end bridge quarterbacks like Daniel Jones, for example, who was with them, and then shoring up the interior of the offensive line where they invested a good deal of money into addressing the center and guard position. All of that suggests to me J.J. McCarthy is going to be their starter week 1, and I would be surprised if anything else happens.
Yep, Brett Rippon, only other QB on that roster. Okay, meanwhile, yesterday, Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty had his pro day. Plenty of scouts from around the league were there to see him. Matt Miller, what have you heard from those who attended that pro day?
And scouts and general managers loved what they saw from Ashton Jeanty, who did positional work. He looked fantastic. He's a blue chip player in this draft class. He's my number 3 overall player as of right now. He'll be a top 10 draft pick, but you see the agility, the strength at 5'9", 215 pounds. He is very tough to bring down in the open field. He had over 1,700 yards after contact last year, so you see that in his framework. And I did have one scout tell me they loved that in an era where so many top players aren't working out, the fact that Jeanty wanted to go out and put a workout out there for teams, for scouts. I had another one tell me this is what an elite running back prospect is supposed to look like.
Yeah, 890 more rushing yards.